Chapter 2605, Running Exhausted. For Dustin, aside from using the mountains to suppress the horde of zombies, there was another method, using divine powers to extract the death aura from within the zombies. Once the death aura was drained, the zombies would lose all mobility and become nothing more than corpses. However, this method was far too inefficient, requiring him to extract the aura one by one. Against tens of thousands of zombies, it was clearly a short-term fix that didn't address the root cause. Not only would it exhaust his energy, but it also wouldn't be very effective. Compared to draining death aura, brute force destruction was far more efficient. Of course, the best solution was still to gather all the zombies in one place and then use his ability to shift mountains and seas to eliminate them all at once. It was simple, fast, and effective. The only difficulty lay in how to gather the zombie army together. Otherwise, given their nature, even a single one slipping through would result in the rapid spread of the corpse poison. After crushing the horde with the mountains, Dustin's figure suddenly flickered and reappeared inside the hovering helicopter above. Pucheng's crisis is dealt with. What's the situation with the other 3 cities? Where should I go next? Dustin turned to Margaret and asked. Lin City is in chaos, Margaret said with a grave expression. Li Guanglong didn't follow our advice and chose to use conventional troops to block the zombies. Not only was it ineffective, but it actually worsened the spread of the corpse poison. Now over 10,000 people in Lin City have been infected and turned into zombies. If possible, it's best to prioritize saving Linqing before things spiral completely out of control. She was clearly furious at Li Guanglong's arrogance. In his pursuit to prove himself and preserve his pride, he'd acted recklessly, gambling with the lives of thousands of civilians. It was sheer stupidity. If the future of the Dragon Marsh were to fall into the hands of such a brute, who knows how many people would die? But anger aside, for the sake of the people, Margaret could only do her best to clean up the mess Li Guanglong left behind. If Lin City is already out of control, then even with my strength, it will be difficult to eliminate all the zombies on my own. Li Guanglong has to cooperate and try to gather the zombies together. Otherwise, there's not much I can do. Dustin analyzed calmly. If Li Guanglong hadn't managed to evacuate civilians and herd the zombies together, going there now would be like trying to put out a forest fire with a bucket of water. It would be more sensible to first secure the other 2 cities, then come back to help Lin City with full focus. You're right, I didn't consider that. Margaret nodded. I've already sent reinforcements to Lin City. They'll try to stall the zombie horde and ease the pressure on the civilians. Wugong City and Liyang City have already followed the plan and gathered the zombies. I suggest you head to Wugong first, it's closer.
All right, Wugong City it is. Dustin didn't waste words. His figure flashed and vanished from the helicopter. In the next instant, he reappeared 100 meters away, shooting across the sky like a meteor as he sped toward Wugong City. First came the plague, then the red mist, and now a massive zombie outbreak. Ever since Dustin stepped foot in the southern wastelands, he hadn't had a moment's rest, constantly rushing to put out fires everywhere. Now, he finally understood what it meant when they said, the greater the power, the greater the responsibility. Even as a land immortal level powerhouse, running back and forth like this was undeniably exhausting. But he had no choice. With millions of lives on the line and the safety of the southern wastelands at stake, no matter how tough it was, he had to grit his teeth and endure it. Meanwhile, in Wugong City, unlike mountainous Pucheng, Wugong was a coastal city known for its vast interconnected port network. Following the advice of Tianjin and a group of strategists, Li Wensheng had dispatched more than a dozen suicide squads to lure the zombie horde into the city's largest port. Initially, Li Wensheng had hoped that they could drown the zombies in seawater, but he quickly realized it wouldn't work. Zombies weren't afraid of water. To be more precise, zombies were already dead things. Their movements were sustained by death aura and corpse poison. Seawater couldn't drown them. Aside from slightly hindering their mobility, it did little else. Of course, Li Wensheng didn't rely on flooding alone. He also ordered incendiary bombs and concentrated artillery fire. These methods did achieve some effect, but there were simply too many zombies, and since their bodies were immune to bullets and blades, unless they were blasted to pieces, they were nearly impossible to kill. Worse still, large-scale bombardments caused immense damage to the city. Even if they could eliminate the zombies, the city would be half destroyed. The price was simply too high. Unless it came down to a do-or-die situation, there was no way he'd choose such a lose 800 to kill 1,000 strategy. At least for now, Li Wencheng hadn't reached that breaking point. In his eyes, there was still that one peerless powerhouse who could turn the tide. As long as that man stepped in, the zombie horde wouldn't be a problem. Why would he waste resources and effort doing something so thankless? If the sky were falling, he'd let the tallest person hold it up. His job was to cooperate and not get in the way.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now I'm left broken, struggling to mend. I thought we were so tied, destined for a lifetime, love with no end, love with no end. Staying in my imagination, memorizing the past time, the secrets, the love, the care, now they're echoes in the air. I still see your face in every place, feel your warmth, your gentle grace, but now there's just an empty space, and I'm lost in this endless chase. Keeping you in my heart, a piece of you I'll never let go. Though distance brings separation, in